Great morning, business owners. Looks kind of dark here. Hold on. Let's fix that. Yeah, that's a little dark. Hey, there we go. Great morning. I'm dark enough. Great morning, business owners and managers, and welcome to another awesome episode of CX in the Morning, Customer Experience in the Morning. I am your host, Wes Walters, and on every single CX in the Morning, I bless you with customer service tips, customer experience tricks, and I leave you with gems. And if you've been watching long enough by gems, you know I mean actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now. Immediately after this broadcast, you will be able to take what you've learned and share it with your team, making your team and your business better. You will learn the importance of implementing an awesome customer experience and how that affects the bottom line. And that by itself is pretty awesome. That's why this is awesome TV. So it is Hump Day Wednesday. You should be halfway through your goals. And if you're not, then you need to double up because it's hard to keep up, but it's even harder to catch up. So yes. How is everyone doing? How has everyone's week been? I see you on Instagram, John _ Khalil, I guess. All right. John, I see you, John. But anyway, so as the title says, this show is going to be real quick. It's going to be 5 simple ways to get feedback from your customers. 5 simple ways to get feedback from your customers, because it is important to get feedback from your customers. It is important to get feedback from your customers. That is vital. Be sure that we're being heard over here. Yep, I'm being heard. That's being great. All right, so it's important as a business owner to get feedback from your customers. It is vital because, sometimes we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So from our lens, and most business owners, if you ask them, how was your customer service? Their automatic response is, oh, we're the best. We're doing great. Great morning, Miss Bernadette. Miss Bernadette, you're going to love this show. This is a quick show. It's going to show you how the 5 simplest ways to get feedback, which you seem to have already mastered this in regards to getting feedback. But it's the 5 simple ways to get feedback from your customers. Again, because feedback is vital. It lets us know how we're actually doing, not how we think we are doing. Because, at this show, in data we trust. We don't talk about how we feel or what we think. What does the data say? And once you capture the data is going to let you know how you're really doing. So even on days when you feel like, I don't think we did that good, at the end of the day, if you have data, you can check the receipts and be like, even though I felt we didn't do that good because I had a slower than normal lunch rush, the data says we made up for it in the breakfast and we made up for it in the dinner. So that's why it's so important to keep accurate data, because your feelings will let you think that today was a bad day. Simply because lunch was slow, you're like, man, today was a bad day. But the data says we cleaned up for breakfast and dinner was a grand slam. So it's important to keep good data. And when you're getting feedback, that's data as well. So you don't have to think we're doing great. The data says you're not doing great. Or on the other side is that you don't have to think that you're not doing great because you dropped the ball once. You can look at the data and the feedback says you guys are doing a great job. So these are the 5 simplest ways. That's going to be a real quick show of the 5 simplest ways to get feedback. All right. Number 1 on the list is a good old 1986 suggestion box. How many of you guys, anyone under 35 might not know what a suggestion box is, but the ones who are over 35, if you've worked in jobs before, there used to be a suggestion box. Literally, you would like, if you had a problem or ways to improve the business, you would write it on a little sticky, something like this. And you should say, hey, I think we should have blank on Fridays. And you would stick it into the suggestion box. You could put your name on it, but for the most part, the suggestion boxes were for anonymous suggestions. Now, this, of course, could be used for internal customers in the back office, as well as for the customers. You want to put a suggestion box if you have a lobby style business, whether it's a restaurant, especially in this day and age, most restaurants are not having dining in. So you can have a lobby size or a foyer where they order their food, and you want to have their suggestion box like literally glowing. It needs to be in a hot pink, fluorescent yellow, sea green, so that they can't miss it. And, you know, have fun with it. Say, hey, we value your opinion. How can we get better? What do we need to do better? So you want to be open, and you want to invite criticism. The only way you're going to get better is to, and I don't, well, criticism, you know, we live in this politically correct world. Like you say criticism, people just saying the word criticism, people get their feelings hurt. So not criticism. You want to invite critiques. Let me say it like that. Like, I mean, really, you'll be surprised with the customers that I consult with. Like, you say criticism, they're like, oh, criticism. Like, that's such a harsh word. So you want to invite critiques. I'm learning to be more politically correct. You want to invite critiques. You want to invite feedback. So have a suggestion box. Number one on the 5 simplest ways to get customers or clients feedback is to have a good old handy analog 1980s suggestion box. They still work amazingly. And because the customers know that it's anonymous, that they're more likely to be honest. Now, I would say in 2021, where there's cameras everywhere, the concept of them being anonymous is kind of like, but for the most part, you know, most customers who are coming in good faith, who want to see you better, who want to see you improve, they will write, and they don't care if they're on camera. So they will, if you have the suggestion box there, they will use it. All right. Number one on the ways to the 5 simplest ways to get feedback from customers is a good old handy suggestion box. Number 2 on the 5 simplest ways to get feedback from a customer or client is on the receipt. Yes, literally on the receipt. So on the receipt at the bottom, there is a website. You let them know, hey, if you go to this website and you give feedback of how your service was, how your visit was, we're going to give you a free apple pie when you come in, or a free martini on us, or a free pound cake, or a free red velvet cake, or dessert is on us. Or so you want to incentivize the customers for doing the feedback. And that way they don't have to do the good old fashioned analog if the suggestion box, or if your restaurant or establishment is more of a high end and you don't want a suggestion box. So you say, hey, after they check out, say, hey, please visit the website and give us your feedback. We really would appreciate it. And if you do that, you get free Mai Tais or free mojitos on your way back. Number 2 on the ways, the 5 simplest ways to get feedback from your customers or clients. That's pretty easy. I mean, Bernadette, would you agree that those 2 are pretty easy? A good old, especially for you, you're catering or on the food truck, you need to have a suggestion box literally right where they order. Right where they order. Hey, while you're waiting or to the side, hey, how can we make this better? How can we, yes, it's great, but, tell us, how can we make it better? And you don't want to have the feedback only for positive. You want to encourage hey, it's a suggestion, whether it's a great suggestion. Hey, you guys are knocking it out the park. You guys are doing a great job. That's all I want to say. Kudos to you and the team. Or is, hey, the rice was kind of dry. The rice tastes like I was eating sandpaper, or, the chicken is not as moist as it looks. You see this? This is what I like. Students who watch and implement. She is not wasting 45 minutes of her time she could be doing so many other things. But she says, if I'm going to waste 45 minutes, at least let me learn something and implement. Way to go, Miss Bernadette. Way to go, Miss Bernadette. And again, after the suggestion box it's literally in 2021, it's so easy where you can have companies where you would direct them to a website. You put it on the receipt. I'm not sure if you're probably using Square to check out, or for your POS, for your point of sales. Square, whatever you use, Square or PayPal or whatever is easier. They all, of course, provide receipts, and you can have that website where they can go to get simple feedback. So suggestion box or having a link on a receipt where they can go, and you want to incentivize them and say, hey, you get a free, Vitamalt on your way back, right? You get a free Vitamalt. Do you sell Vitamalt, Miss Bernadette? All right, number 3, yes, Mr. Paul Williams is in the building. Mr. Paul, do you have a brick and mortar? Do you have a brick and mortar where you sell your mattresses? Do you have a brick and mortar business, or is it just online in a warehouse? Let me know if you have a brick and mortar business, because if you do have a brick and mortar business, then these 5 simplest ways will definitely benefit you as well. All right, and put your name of your business and the address, because I know you're in Conyers, where individuals can come by and, if you have a brick and mortar, and get the mattresses. Mr. Paul Williams is the place where you want to, if you want to get a mattress, if you're in the market for a mattress, nobody does it better than Paul. Definitely, nobody does it better than Paul. I had lower back pain, and I got a mattress from him, and it's all rectified. Trust me, he has mattresses that will no more. So he doesn't have a brick and mortar anymore. But just put your website in there, Paul, so that they can go get one of those mattresses that I got that definitely help my lower back pain. All right, because I do a lot of running, and when you run a lot, the muscles right at the lower back of your right in your lower back, they hurt. But anyway, moving along. Number 3 on the 5 simplest ways to get feedback from your customers or clients is with a follow-up text. Yes, all customers that are entering your establishment have a phone. And here's the little story. If they made an appointment or if they made a reservation, then you have their number. If they made a reservation, then you have their number. Utilize text technology. Send them a text. Hey, how was the service? And that's text automatically. So remember, I talked about the link on the website, on the receipt. The text automatically sends them to that link. You just like, hey, click on the link. Thank you for shopping, or thank you for dining in at oh, what is this? Alarm is going off. Thank you for dining at Rosie's, right? So I have a restaurant. It's called Rosie's, right? So thank you for dining at Rosie's. Please give us your feedback about how the service was. So they click on the link, and it takes them automatically to the same website that's on the receipt. So here it is. These are called touch points. Take notes, ladies and gentlemen. These are called touch points. You got a touch point on the receipt. You got a touch point by text. So there's no getting away from me. I'm going to get feedback from you whether you like it or not. I put it on the receipt. You didn't act. I send you a text message. Hey, I value your feedback. Was it good or was it bad? How can we make it better? So that's number 3 on the 5 simplest ways to get feedback, necessary feedback for your business. You need it. This is important. This is important because, again, as a business owner, so how many of you guys went to college, right? So, or even in high school. So in college, when you would do term papers, if you're working on a paper, you are working on a paper for X amount of hours, right? And that's why they encourage, you should have a study buddy. He's like, look, I need you to proof this paper because I've been looking at this thing for 7 hours. I double checked it and I proofed it twice. I don't think that there are any errors. Then you give it to your buddy to proof, and you forgot periods, commas, run-on sentences because you've been seeing it for 7 hours. So you're kind of immune to the errors. Let me know if that makes sense. So same thing with you in your business. You're in it every day, 7 days a week, or sometimes 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. A lot of the errors is not that you ignore them. You simply don't see them. You're immune to those errors because it's almost like you're blinded because you're seeing it. You've been seeing it. In it every day. You don't see the mistakes that someone who just comes in new are going to be like, man, how could they miss this? How could they miss this? So it's important to get feedback because this is the proof. This is someone proofing your work. This is someone proofing how good that you think you are, because you might be like, oh, how good are you? We're the best east of the Mississippi. Nobody does it better. But if you ask your customers, they're like, they're all right. I'll eat there if I have nothing else to eat. Miss Monica Yvette is in the building. We're talking about the 5 simplest ways to get customers or clients feedback. And if you are a business owner and manager, we know that feedback is vital to our success. So since you're just tuning in, I normally say watch the replay, but because you're a good person, I'm going to give you the review so far. So number 1 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers feedback is the good old 1986 suggestion box. Yes, you remember the suggestion box, the things that you would write on the sticky and put it in and say, this is how I think you guys could improve. Yes, if you have a brick and mortar, you should have, I encourage, if your business is not, say, a high class luxury brand, then if you have a foyer, then put a nice little handy dandy suggestion box, and you can make it look nice. You could put flowers on it. You could put rose. It can match the feng shui of your business. It doesn't have to be an eyesore. It can be an eye candy, my friend Monica. So a good old-fashioned suggestion box. Number 2 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers or clients feedback is to put it on the receipt. Once they check out, you say, hey, if you go to this website, give us some feedback. You're going to get a free Mai Tai when you come back, a free mojito on us, free pound cake, a free piece of apple pie. So you want to incentivize them for doing the feedback. And number 3 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers feedback or clients feedback is to text them. If you put it on the receipt and they don't opt in, you send them a text, because guess what? This is where I was going with this. If they booked a reservation, then you have their information, you have their number. And here's a little secret, ladies and gentlemen. Come closer. Everybody come closer. Come closer to the camera. Come closer to the speaker. So all of those businesses that have free Wi-Fi, all of the businesses that have free Wi-Fi, that offer free Wi-Fi, come on in, you get free Wi-Fi. Yes, it seems that, they want to offer you free Wi-Fi. Yeah, I know. You fell for the okie doke. But the purpose of free Wi-Fi is to capture your data. Yes, I let you in on a little secret. The purpose of free Wi-Fi is to capture your data. Ladies and gentlemen, there are businesses. So data and information is the new currency. Data and information is the new currency. The reason whenever you go to a business and there's free Wi-Fi, they have just gotten your number, they have a profile on you, your number, which includes your number, definitely an email address, and maybe if you have your stuff public, your physical address. Yes, newsflash. Everybody's like, oh my God, no. Yes, so you're going to be real cautious now when you hop on free Wi-Fis, right? Some of it, and most of it is not malicious. No, some of it, like if you read the fine print where nobody does. So when you connect to free Wi-Fi, there's normally a conceptual menu that pops up. Yeah, Miss Monica is like, wow. So most places, if you connect to a free Wi-Fi, like let's just say for Starbucks, once you connect to that free Wi-Fi, there is a conceptual menu that pops up that says, hey, you're about to connect to the Wi-Fi, blah, 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 blah. And if you keep scrolling, in the fine print, it lets you know, let you know that, hey, we're gonna get some information from you in exchange for this free Wi-Fi. Again, nobody ever reads that fine print. They're like, oh, I want free Wi-Fi. But if you take the time to read it, you will know that they're gathering information on you, which again, on social media, they're gathering information right now. So I just want to let you know. So my point is, if you are a business owner, that is a quick and easy way to capture data from customers. Everyone that connects to your Wi-Fi, you automatically have their phone number and their email address. And that way you can retarget offerings to them. Damn, should have scrolled. Now I know. And guess what? Knowing is half the battle. Go Joe, right? So good information. Thanks, Wes. Now you know. So I'm not saying that you should go out and get free Wi-Fi. Yeah, if you have a pipeline of customers and you don't need more information, fine. But if you ever get into a position where you're like, you want to find another way to get leads for your business, offer free Wi-Fi. And everyone that connects to that Wi-Fi, you have their phone number. That way you can remarket to them, retarget to them. And you can include them in your retargeting efforts, as well as you have an email address. So all of a sudden, like I went to Pappadeaux, connected to the Wi-Fi. All of a sudden, in my email, there are Pappadeaux advertising. How nice, how coincident. And to the average person, is like, oh my God, Big Brother is following me around. No, he's not. Big Brother is connected to Big Brother's Wi-Fi. Tone it down a little. Bring it back down. No, it's not a government conspiracy. No, they're not tracking you. You're not that important. You simply connected to the free Wi-Fi. That's why. That's how they got you. All right. So now you know, and knowing is half the battle. So again, that's a quick way to capture customers' information. And that's a quick way businesses have been capturing your information for all these years. Won't he do it? Ain't that right, Miss Monica? All right. So number 4 on the 5 simplest ways, free Wi-Fi, powerful information. See, Mr. Paul, again, the money is in the data. The money is in the data. So everyone who connects to your Wi-Fi, I'm going to take this a little further to get. So again, the money is in the data. Yes, they might not purchase something right now. But once you have their phone number and email, you can consistently market to them. You're simply adding them to a list. So it's not more work for you. You're not doing more work. Your email newsletter goes out on clockwork every Friday. It goes out on clockwork and it's automated anyway. So it was going to go out and you're just simply adding that name to the list that goes out automatically. So people are like, oh man, that's more work to do. No, it's automatic. So even though they might not buy now, once they're on that list, they're constantly getting emails. They're constantly getting updates from your posts on social media. They're constantly getting, newsletters from you. And they're like what's called top of the mind awareness, TOMA, top of the mind awareness. So they might not be ready to purchase now, but I guarantee you when they are, and that email just comes in right at the same time where they were like, I'm stressed out. I need a vacation. And bing, an email from your travel agency. You know what? I really do need to go to the Virgin Islands. And they call and they click on the link and purchase it. All because you offer them free Wi-Fi. So it costs you nothing. It's no more work. It's not like more heavy lifting involved. No, you're simply adding them to an automatic newsletter that goes out every Friday. And when they're finally thinking about, man, it's my daughter's sweet 16th birthday. We need a haul for her sweet 16th birthday. Oh, Mr. Paul, I'm constantly getting emails from him talking about he has this venue. Let me investigate about his venue. Oh my God, 4,000 square feet for $10? Sold. All because you offered them free Wi-Fi, right? Won't he do it? All right, let's keep it moving. Number 4 on the 5 simplest ways to get customer or clients feedback is online reviews. Man, this is so gangster, right? So I was at a restaurant. And this manager was walking around with an iPad. Oh, he is so brilliant. This couldn't have been done back in my days because there was no iPads, right? So he was walking around, and of course, he was getting the feel for the customer. He wasn't going to do this to a customer who had a bad experience. He's constantly hovering the ball, the dining room, getting feedback, and he has a feedback loop between his servers and himself. Hey, how is table 7? Oh, table 7 they're happy. It's his birthday. They're happy. They're laughing. Drinks are filled. Are you sure? The server is constantly giving this manager intel. Nobody is going in there blindly. It's a system. The servers are communicating with the manager. The manager is like, server is going to be like, hey, table 7, I spilled Fanta soda on his wife. Don't go over there and ask for feedback. Go over there and give a concession. So again, this is a constant feedback between the server and the manager. So the manager is never going to a table blindly. So the server is like, hey, table 7, the steak was raw, or the shrimp was raw, the fish was raw. Don't go over there asking for feedback. It's going to be negative. Go over there with a concession. You need to go over there with an olive branch, with with some dessert, something. So let's just say table 15, amazing customer service. The server approves and say, hey, manager, you should go over there. The manager comes over with a iPad, acting all like he doesn't know what's going on. Hey, how was the service today? Was it okay? No, did Little West take care of you guys? Little West is my best server. How was it? Oh, it was amazing. Miss Little West took care of us. Okay, really? I mean, what would you improve? Nothing. It was amazing. Oh, really? Why don't you just enter that on this? So the manager has the Google review up already. All you got to do is look, just type in your email address and log in, and boom, reviews, instant. That's again 5 simple ways to get free. I mean, not free. The 5 simplest ways to get reviews from your customers or client. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that is so gangster. Like he literally had a review and he's like, no, you can just log in. And he waited. He's like, oh, I don't remember my password. He was like, I'll wait. The manager was like, I'll wait. So this dude literally logged into his Google account and be like, hey, best restaurant ever. When you get here, get the jumbo shrimp. And logged right out. Immediate response. You're like, no, I'm not going to put it on you or depend on you to do it when you leave. No. You're going to do it right now while you're happy. Right now while you're happy. All right. For me, that's not sincere. I want to know the bad and with the good. Otherwise, there's no way I can improve. No. If you see Miss Monica, you came late. Miss Monica, you came late. I talked about that in the beginning. You're gonna have to watch the replay. So we want not just good feedback, We want bad. Tell us ways to improve. So yeah, that was covered at the beginning of the class. So you're gonna watch when you watch the replay, or I won't know what to improve on specifically. Yeah. So I'm totally angry. So Miss Monica. The rules of the class, you see, this is what you get from Miss Monica. Anybody sisters that are named Monica and Monique's are problems. How do you come to class late? And they're talking about, well, if I don't get it like this, it's wrong. I want to hear the bad. Miss Monica, where I'm from, when you come to class late, you creep in and go to the back of the class and hopefully nobody sees you. Miss Monica shows up late and talking about what she gonna do. Nah, it ain't. Miss First Lady is in the bit. Hey, Miss First Lady, how are you? Good morning. We're talking about 5 of the simplest ways to get customers feedback from your customers or clients. So we're on number 4. So you're gonna have to watch the replay. Me and my daughter, Monique. Oh my goodness, Monica has a daughter named Monique. It's problem in that house. It's total pandemonium. You can depend on a Monica or a Monique to be out of line. I don't make this stuff up. All the Monicas and the Moniques I know, they're out of line. Here it is. She comes to class late and gonna tell the teacher, well, that's not the way you do it. No, Monica, when you show up late, you tiptoe to the back of the class and you sit and pray that the teacher didn't see you. Paul is on Facebook laughing at you, Monica. And Paul, she has a daughter named Monique. It's M squared, Eminem in the building, M squared. She said, stop it. Paul, she's telling the teacher to stop it. It gets worse. Paul, she's over here on Instagram telling me, you stop it, teacher. You're wrong. Let me move on. All right, listen, I'm messing. Monica, you're new to the show, but hopefully you're not offended. I have a sense. The ones who watch the show know I got a sense of humor. Please, sister, I'm not trying to disrespect you. It's just out of fun, right? Wait, now I didn't say that. That's how you do it. I'm being funny. Please, it's all in fun. All right. Hopefully you're not offended. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Number 5 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers or clients' feedback is Paul says, wow. Yeah, there you go, Paul. Yeah, you should see her on Instagram over here. She's cracking up too. But anyway, the 5 simplest way. Number 5 is good old simple ask. Who thought about that? Who thought about ask? Just simply asking. Remember talking before social distance? We used to talk. All you got to do is say, hey, we would love some feedback. We would love some feedback. We would love some feedback. How are we doing? You guys are great. So here's a little story. Here's a little, I guess, let me insert this. So you want to be very clear to your customers. So now this is, well, I guess this is different because when I used to work at Red Lobster, a lot of the bonuses were connected to the review, the ratings. So when I worked at the Red Lobster on Candler Road, we were in competition with, we were the highest the Red Lobsters with the most generated the most revenue. It was constantly between us, and there was a Red Lobster close to Disney World in Orlando. So it was always Candler Road, Orlando, Candler Road, Orlando. Now, it was hard to beat the Red Lobster next to Disney World, but that lets you know how much volume we were doing because we were competing with the big boys in Orlando. But it was constantly, and of course, the managers' raises and bonuses were connected to the reviews, the rating, right? So and again, this is just a side note. So Paul says, Monica is great and informative. Monica, this is a great informative. Wes gives great information. All right, there you go. Paul for the review, right? Paul for the testimonial. But anyway, so here's a quick side note. So I once waited on a customer, and I knocked it out the park, like amazing service. And I gave the manager the approval. I'm like, hey, they're nice and primed. Go over there. You're gonna get a 5. So my manager walked over and says, hey, how was everything? How was your evening with Wes? It was like, Wes was amazing. Were the drinks cold? Yes. Was the food hot? Yes. Was the dessert sweet? Yes. Everything was yes, 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 yes. So, all right, now it's time to, she's like, hey, do you mind giving us some feedback? Yes. And the manager asked, like, so what I'm saying is that if everything was great, you would definitely give us a 5, right? And the guy said, no. And the manager was like, well, you said everything was fine. Everything was great. Yeah, everything was great. But this guy was military, right? So the guy was like, well, everything was great, but I always believe there's always room for improvement. So in this case, even though everything was perfect, now again, the manager was upset because yes, there's always room for improvement, but the customer didn't understand how a 4 affected the difference between getting a 4 rating and a 5. Like there was thousands of dollars at risk by you with your Sergeant Slaughter nonsense talking about there's always room for improvement when you just said everything was good with the food, everything was good with the drinks, the server was amazing, he made you laugh, he made your wife feel special, everything. But here he is, you're gonna give a 4 because there's always room for improvement. Man, I would hate to be that guy's kid. But anyway, right? My point is, in this situation, the review was, the feedback was based on a ratings. Now, if you're not doing this for ratings, if you're just doing it to get better, then that story doesn't apply to you. But if you're doing it for ratings, if you're trying to get a specific score, you want to be very clear to the customers, let them know that, yes, good is bad and great is the norm. However, in situations where you're like, everything was amazing, but you're going to grade them less than they really need to be, because you feel there's always room for improvement. Yeah, we know there's always room for improvement, and we're going to handle that internally. Now, give us the rating that you really feel, buddy. All right? So I just wanted to say that. But anyway, that's it. I told you it was going to be a quick show for the late people whose names begin with M and O-N-I-C-K. Oh, not to be confused with Monica. For the late people who showed up late, I'm going to run it back and give a quick review of the 5 simplest ways to get customers or clients' feedback. Number 1 on that list is a good old-fashioned 1982 suggestion box. And again, they don't have to look ugly. They can match the feng shui of your and the feel of your business. If you have a seafood restaurant, put seaweed on the suggestion box. Put cowrie shells and starfishes. If you have an American restaurant, put some, or you're in a restaurant in Texas, put some Longhorns on the suggestion box. If you are in DC or if you're in New York, put a Statue of Liberty on the suggestion box. So you can create it up. You can make it happy. Monica says, let me go. It's time to make my German chocolate cake. Yes, me and all right. Thank you for tuning in, Monica. I appreciate it. I'll go ahead and go back and watch the replay. All right. Number 2 on the list on the 5 simplest ways to get customers' feedback is to put it on the receipt, which will send them to the link, which will have a website where they can go to, and they will be able to enter the feedback. Number 3 on the 5 simple, Monique, 5 simplest ways to get, number 3 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers' feedback is to send them a follow-up text, because if they made a reservation, that means you have their number. And number 4 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers' feedback is online reviews. And number 5 on the 5 simplest ways to get customers' feedback is to simply ask, say, hey, we value your feedback. How can we get better? How are we doing? All right. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. It was amazing. And I will see you guys on Friday. Have a great day. Peace.